This is the Patriots Catch-22 podcast with Evan Lazar and Alex Barth.
I'm Evan Lazar. Evan Lazar.
Hello, everybody.
Nailed it. Joined as always by our Barth. That's a fit. That's a match. No risk it, no biscuit.
22.
Here is Evan Lazar and Alex Barth.
The Giants, on paper, have a pass rush that you should fear. You know, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence rushing in the middle.
Yeah.
It's a good group. They have widely underperformed, and that's why their head coach and their defensive coordinator no longer have jobs. I would say that's the main reason. They have the second highest payroll in the NFL on defense, including a third overall pick rookie in Abdul Carter, all invested in their defense. Thibodeau, Carter, Burns, Lawrence. And with that group, they are 23rd in pressure rate. One of the keys to this game, Alex, was how well the Patriots offensive line played against this Giants pass rush. Really just across the board. A really good game, and we're going to get to all of that here in a second when we break down this win over the Giants. A really impressive win, I thought, from the Patriots, and I have some thoughts on that. I'm going to try my best to not upset the entire state of Colorado today. I don't know if I'm going to be able to accomplish that. Even with my opening take of the day might upset some of those people. So if you're watching, hello, welcome. You can hear some more of that here today. But it's Evan Lazar, it's Alex Barth, it's Alex behind the glass. We are going to be rolling with you guys here for the next couple hours. No game to preview, Barth, for next week, so we'll definitely have some more listener involvement, I think, in today's show here in the second hour. But we'll start with Patriots. We'll start with Patriots Giants, breaking down this game, and I'll just start with this. I have been tried to be very reluctant about crowning the Patriots too early, and really crowning them, frankly, before they have truly accomplished anything. Like, being the number one seed in week 13 doesn't throw you any parades, right? Like, that's not right. The end goal here for any team in the NFL. With that being said, though, the Patriots played a couple weeks ago on Thursday Night Football. They played this week on Monday Night Football. So I've had an opportunity to watch a lot of the league the last 2 or 3 weeks, and a lot of the AFC. And coming off this game against the Giants, I feel pretty confident, pretty comfortable saying that I think the Patriots are the best team in the conference. I think the Patriots are the best team in the AFC. I think that they should be the favorite, the front runner to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. And I think the main reason why I feel so strongly about that is that, of course, the MVP at quarterback, but the second thing is, in what I just came away so impressed by this game in particular, was the energy that they played with on Monday night. I did not think they had enough gas in the tank to play the way they did in the first half, and to fly around the field like that, and to hit like that. Like, when's the last time you saw a modern team, a team in the 2020s, come out and lay the wood on a team like the Patriots did on Monday night against the Giants?
It's been a while.
You don't play like that anymore.
Right.
A lot of that's because it's been legislated out of the league. But the Patriots did it right on the line. They were clean for most of it, with a lot of those hits, and they came out with a energy, with a physicality, with an aggressiveness that you just don't necessarily see a whole lot in the NFL anymore. So when you put that sort of aspect to it, which of course a lot of that is related to the head coach and Mike Vrabel and his attitude and his energy, and then you add in a quarterback playing at an MVP level, that is a really, really good formula to have. And the last thing I'll just say to open it up, this team's got it. Like, they've got some magic going. And the last thing that I kind of wanted to see from the Patriots, because I'm not a big schedule guy, because I don't think you win 10 straight games in the NFL by accident.
Well,
I don't care who you're playing.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. It's the one last thing. The thing that really I wanted to see is what happened when the injuries started to pile up. And was this team, and granted, it's only been one game, but was this team going to be able to overcome injuries to frontline players at key positions like left tackle, like your best defensive player, arguably, in Milton Williams. And to put that performance on tape against the Giants without Milton Williams, without Will Campbell, without Jared Wilson, without Kyrus Tonga, like that was really where I was questioning them, was whether they're going to have enough layers of depth behind that. And they went out there and proved it to me. So this is it. Like I think the Patriots, you should all out there, all Patriots fans all out there should feel like you have a real chance here to make a run at a Super Bowl. This is not fluky anymore. This is a real thing.
I'll just say this on the schedule thing, and that's a hell of a statement. I don't necessarily disagree. That's a hell of a statement. I think there's two things with the easy schedule to me. Because it has been objectively easy. Like they have not played, they've played mostly bad teams. But when they've played bad teams, and this is where this game comes into it, you know, you look at what the Broncos did. I don't know how much your analysis about the Patriots versus the rest of the league goes into that Sunday night game, but you look at the Broncos and yeah, they're winning a lot, but they're kind of going toe to toe with a lot of these bad teams. Commanders team's not in a good way right now. I know they were good last year. They got a lot of injuries. They're not in a good way right now, and that thing went down to the final play of overtime for them to win that. The Patriots have had a weak schedule, but they're blowing doors against whatever you want to call the Panthers. I don't know if the Panthers are good or bad. It depends on the week you get them, right?
Right.
But Saints, Titans, Browns. It had gotten a little closer recently. The Falcons game obviously felt closer than it needed to be. That Bengals game felt closer than it needed to be. I said this on Sunday kickoff, and I kind of said it as a joke, and it got a reaction that it maybe wasn't so tongue-in-cheek, but I was like, aren't they kind of due for a blowout? Like, if they really are at that level, and what'd we get? I know it ended up as like a close 3-score game, but I'd qualify that game as a blowout. So I think there's that element of it with the schedule, that you can only play who's on your schedule, and we know from the last 2 years what it looks like when a bad team plays a good team, and they flip the script on that.
Right.
And they're not eking out these wins. They're winning these games convincingly, which is what you want to see. It's not college football style. Points don't matter. There is no committee. You're not trying to impress. And we can get to the style points of this game in a little bit because I do have a take on that. The other thing about the easy schedule, when we went back and did the schedule predictions at the beginning of the year and people had 10, 11, 12 wins, whatever, shout out Taylor Kyle's 13 wins. Taylor is a big old victory lap coming. It's going to make some of my victory laps look like nothing, I hope.
He got a little cold feet about it, though.
Yeah, you got to stick by your take. Yeah, that's if the Felger has taught me that time and time again. You got to stick by your take.
He put it out there, and it got a lot of I'm only teasing Taylor. We don't need to make this about Taylor.
But the point being, I want to give him his flowers. But the point being, like, so I had him at 9 wins, and I think I remember saying, like, there were 11 games on their schedule they should win. But consistency in the NFL, you guys, if you've listened to the show for a long time, you know consistency is my thing. That's always what it comes down to me. That's what separates the good teams from the great teams. You're consistent. And, all right, well, it's a young team. There's a lot of new pieces. Okay, there's 11 games they should win, but, like, realistically over the course of the season, you would think, okay, they're going to sleepwalk into one of these. They're just going to have one game where they're sloppy and they're out of it. And look, they still have 4 games left, so who's to say that that's not to come? You could argue they had one at the beginning of the year against the Steelers, which was a game that some people had as they should win at the beginning of the year. The Raiders won as well, but I just chalked that up to week 1 being weird. If we've learned anything the last 2 years, don't buy into anything that happens week 1.
Oh, I'm hearing a lot about that Raiders loss that happened in the very first week of the season with the brand new coaching staff.
Why are you hearing a lot about that Raiders loss?
And from Broncos fans.
Okay.
Like 35 new players on the roster and a brand new coaching staff in week 1 of the season. And then, oh, by the way, the Broncos on Thursday Night Football barely beat the Raiders in one of the ugliest games of the season.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
But my point being, like, well, first of all, whatever I think is going to happen, I'm just going against my gut instinct week 1 next year across the board. But yeah, part of it what makes it so impressive is okay, they're beating bad teams, but a lot of teams play stretches of bad teams, and it's the NFL. You're kind of supposed to slip up here and there, and good teams have bad games. It happens. To win 10 in a row, This is now, I think, the second longest winning streak in franchise history, or tied for third.
Yeah, depending on how you do winning streaks, like if you
In
stretch
season,
them out
in season.
right, like over 2 seasons, it's kind of difficult. I think that
But it's like you're not, regardless of who they're playing. This is my final point, and then I'll go back to.
No, it's fine.
Regardless of who they're playing, this kind of sustained success doesn't happen in the NFL. It's kind of structured against that. So they deserve credit for that, regardless of the opponent.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in terms of all that and the schedule, because you asked me like maybe this is based off the rest of what's going on.
By the way, tied for the third longest winning streak in franchise history. It is the longest without a guy named Tom Brady playing quarterback.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They had obviously a 16-game one, and then they won 12 in a row in 03.
Yeah. So I think it's twofold. One, I had a tiny bit, and I know it sounds crazy at 2-11, but I had a tiny bit of respect for the Giants because they're just blown so many big leads in games that they should have won. And the last 3 weeks leading into this game, the Giants were in 3 one-score games. Like, this is a Giants team that was in overtime against Detroit the week before.
Again, even these bad teams sometimes play close games.
Yeah.
It was Detroit was a one-score game, Green Bay and Chicago, 3 in a row were one-score games.
3 good teams.
Yeah.
That they were in one-score games against. And
2 of those on the road.
They should have won in some of the instances. You know, they kind of choked in a lot of those games. So I looked at the Giants, I looked at the Patriots, and this kind of goes back to the whole mindset thing. The Patriots were literally and figuratively limping into this bye week.
Yeah.
They had Will Campbell on injured reserve, Milton Williams on injured reserve, a bunch of dudes inactive that were ruled out with injuries. I think, 3 or 4, right? If you count Schooler.
Yeah.
Wilson, Schooler, Tonga. Harold Landry has a knee.
Why wouldn't you count Schooler?
What?
Why wouldn't you count Schooler?
Yeah. We'll get to that. Landry has a knee issue that has clearly been related to that injury scare in week 6 in New Orleans, and he hasn't been the same since.
Yeah.
Is clearly banged up. Guys are banged up. They've been going at this every single week, really since July, if you're being honest about it. I think the last, other than the mini bye week after the Thursday night game, which is after a Thursday night game on a short week, like Labor Day weekend is probably the last time that they really had a break from football. And they looked like a team that was limping into their bye week. And usually you don't see a team like that capable of blowing doors. Like, that's not usually a formula when you have a bunch of guys hurt and you're tired and you're worn down after 13 straight games. Like, you don't normally then go out and have a 30-7 lead at halftime. Like that,
right.
That's not normally a formula for success. So I think a lot of people on both sides, Giants and Patriots media, were picking either a one-score game, or even some people were taking the Giants in this game on Monday night. So I don't think this was, as much as we can look at the Giants' record and say that they stink, I don't think this was a layup that the Patriots were going to blow doors on Monday night. I think a lot of people thought that this was going to be a tighter game than maybe like closer to what happened in Cincinnati, right? Where it's kind of a one-score game, but the Patriots kind of had control at the end of the game, that sort of thing. And the other thing is, and I don't, want to completely rail on all the other teams like I did yesterday. But the other thing is that I just look around the AFC and I see a lot of teams that also have some flaws, like the Patriots, that could be fatal or could not be fatal. I look at the Denver Broncos and I see a team that offensively is average. They have a great defense, but they're an average offense. They're 13th in scoring. Bo Nix is 20th in QBR. Like, they're not a great offense right now. They don't have a great running game. They don't have great passing game either. I look at the Indianapolis Colts now suddenly kind of in a dogfight for their division with the Jacksonville Jaguars and with the Houston Texans. The Colts have a quarterback who has a broken fibula and is going to play through it. So as much as they're a run-first operation, their quarterback is compromised at this point, and he's already a guy in Daniel Jones that was doing the whole Sam Darnold reclamation project thing to begin with.
Right.
So he was probably going to turn back into Daniel Jones at some point anyways, just like Darnold did last year, and now he's hurt. I look at an AFC field that right now Buffalo is the 7 seed in the AFC. Kansas City and Cincinnati aren't in the playoffs if they started today. Baltimore's in, but limping. And I don't think Lamar Jackson looks exactly the way that he has prior to all these injuries that he's accumulated this year. So you look at all these different things and all these different factors, and I'm like, all these teams are a little bit flawed. There probably isn't an elite team in the conference this year. So which team's flaws can you live with? And looking at the Patriots, their flaws right now are their run defense is faltered a little bit here. Their pass rush is okay. Mediocre probably is the best way to put that. And they're inconsistent in the red zone offensively. Those are their flaws. But those flaws, in some ways, and we'll get to it, are fixable. You can't fix Daniel Jones's fibula.
Nope.
You're right. And
not before the playoffs start.
And you can't, Daniel, the Broncos offense and Bo Nix is going to be, kind of a sidecar to their defense. If their defense carries them, their defense carries them, but that's going to be how that team wins in the playoffs.
There's been all these questions about this Patriots versus the 2021 Patriots, and okay, that team started hot, young quarterback, came out of the bye, fell apart, turned out to be fool's gold. Aren't the Broncos more the 2021 Patriots than this Patriots team is?
A little bit. I don't know exactly, what comparison the Broncos are. I just look at the Broncos as a team, to me, that has a great defense and has a average at best offense. And I guess where I'm getting at with the Broncos is I don't know if you can fully win with that formula anymore in the NFL. I think you do need to have, I don't know if you need to have a Hall of Fame quarterback, but I think you need to have a good quarterback in this league to win.
You have a good quarterback. I don't think you need to have a great quarterback, especially if you have a run game. You can win with defense,
but they don't have
a
run game.
But they don't. That's okay. I'm just saying big picture.
Yeah,
but you're right.
if you're the Eagles and you
that's what I was
you
getting
built
at.
it that way.
Yeah.
In theory, you could do that, but I think the Eagles are kind of an exception, not the rule, because the Eagles were so loaded around Jalen Hurts. That's 2 superstar receivers, a superstar running back, a great offensive line. That's not the Denver Broncos.
Right.
And so I just think that all these things kind of point to the Patriots, yes, maybe being in a crop of AFC teams that are not juggernauts, this isn't the prime Chiefs or the prime Patriots or, one of those years where
there is no juggernaut in the AFC.
Right. I think that out of all the teams, the Patriots look the best. And my take has always been the same about in terms of if you want to get into who do you fear in the AFC or who do you not want to play in the AFC. My take has always been the same, is that my biggest concern would be one of these MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, one of these guys figures it out at the right time.
Right.
And they flip a switch in January, just like some of the Patriots teams at the end with Brady did. 2018 is always the one I point to. Is that would be my biggest fear. It wouldn't be playing Daniel Jones or Bo Nix. Or Trevor Lawrence, or whatever. My biggest fear would be Josh Allen gets hot. Josh Allen has an MVP performance, and there's nothing you can do, and it's divisional round weekend, and you get bounced by a quarterback that scores 6 total touchdowns and throws for 350 yards, right? Or Mahomes and the Chiefs figure it out, or Lamar squeaks in, or Joe Burrow squeaks into the playoffs, and they get hot at the end of the year. Let's not forget, they still have a month of the season to go.
So that's the thing. If you're a Patriots fan, you're rooting against some of these teams making it.
100%.
If Buffalo lost the Steelers, I think they'd be out today. They're currently the 7 seed.
Yeah, they're currently the 7 seed. And, I know that the age doesn't exactly line up, but just from an analogy standpoint, we covered the 2018 team.
Yeah.
And that team was dead to rights after the Miami Miracle. That team was buried. They had lost to Pittsburgh, and then they had lost to Miami on the Miami Miracle. And it was...
Well, they weren't dead. They were still going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, but they were dead to rights.
They were 9-5.
Yeah, and the feeling around the team,
I get what you're saying, yeah.
It was that it was over. and they just were great. They captured greatness one more time, and they went on a run. And I don't know why any of those other teams with those elite quarterbacks couldn't do the same
Because
thing.
they have elite quarterbacks, but they don't have the guy.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, let's get to the good, the bad, and the stuff that gets you beat. Not a whole lot on the negatives from this game, so a lot of good to discuss here from Monday night. Let's start with the quarterback. Let's start with Drake Maye. You know, I thought that he had a little bit of a down performance in Cincinnati. I think we all did, you know, especially early, you know, didn't start very well. This game, you know, I think what stands out to me about all of it with Drake Maye is especially against, you know, some of these defenses that aren't quite as good, watching how in command he is of the offense at this point is really cool to see. It doesn't look easy. It doesn't look like he's, you know, struggling to find open receivers or struggling with things, you know, in terms of reads and all that different type of stuff. And he's just distributing the football at a really efficient and high level. And he knows where the matchups are. He knows where the openings are going to be in the coverage. He's getting through progressions. Like, it's just a complete command of this offense, and 0 turnover worthy plays in this game. So he didn't put the ball in harm's way. He made a couple, again, like he does every single week, a couple of really high-level throws. This was just Drake Maye in the zone. Like, he was just in complete command in this game. And I thought he was, for the most part, we'll get to some of the nitpicks in the red zone, but for the most part, I thought he was terrific.
Yeah, the big thing that stood out to me, and I'll go back to something we talked about when Drake Maye was on that heater at the beginning of the year. And I don't know if you remember, I gave that take that was like, I can't wait till we get to the point where Drake Maye has a big game and it's not news, right? And I compared it to, you know, if Tom Brady had thrown for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns against a bad Giants team, we wouldn't have come in here and be like, wow, that Tom Brady, he's got it going on. It would have been like, yeah, it's what he does.
Yeah.
It's Tom Brady. Are we there with Drake Maye? Like,
we're getting there.
That's Drake Maye. At this point, I think it's expectation. And that's not to diminish what he did. He played well.
Yeah.
But we're kind of expecting him to play like that. Now, the no turnover worthy play certainly is nice. The big thing that stood out to me, though, 8 different players targeted.
Yeah.
All caught at least 1 pass. 7 caught at least 2. Nobody caught more than 4. He was spreading that thing around. Yeah. He got everybody involved. He forced the defense to defend every blade of grass. That can be a nightmare for a defense when all 5 guys in the pattern are a weapon at any given time. That was my big Drake Maye takeaway from this game, was how well he spread the ball out.
And that's always an indication to me that
the guy's feeling it,
and that he's running the offense. Like, Josh McDaniels' offense is that kind of offense. You throw to the open guy. I know it's cliche, but that's really the truth. And all of it is about, you know, formationally and spacing wise, like, how can we create favorable matchups for our playmakers, and let's find those matchups and hunt those matchups. And so that could mean that the play and the read takes you to Kyle Williams on a touchdown, or that could mean that, you know, they ran on the opening drive, they ran Haas Juke, they put Stephon Diggs inside, they got him on a linebacker, and Drake Maye took it for 13 yards. It wasn't the most sophisticated throw of all time. It wasn't the best throw he's ever made, but it was just easy, conventional offense. And this team's being able to do that I think is the biggest difference between the offense that we've watched the last couple of years and the offense that we've watched this year, is that they're winning in the traditional drop back game, where it doesn't have to be, you know, pulling teeth. They're not in long down and distance a lot, and they're not having to, like, do this smoke and mirrors thing where everything is just kind of, you know, disguised, and, you know, they're motioning or they're doing different trick plays or whatever. That was a little bit more, not all the time, but like that to me was a little bit more what was going on in 2021, was that it was a lot of scheme. You know, the scheme was really doing a lot of the heavy lifting. In this offense, it just feels like they're able to run conventional, traditional Josh McDaniels staples and just win. Yeah. You know, whether it's the receivers winning or Drake Maye winning or both. So that's been really good to see. Continuing and just, you know, to kind of segue this into this next point, I don't think that they necessarily did anything that they haven't been doing all year to manage the offensive line. I thought that was something that we might see, but this wasn't like a quick game special. Like, this wasn't.
They
like,
ran their offense.
Yeah, they ran the offense, and they were able to do so. Now, Drake Maye, had his second fastest time to release of the season in this game. So he did a really nice job. And I think this is another, feather in his cap for this game. I thought that his kind of just like mindset or internal clock in the pocket was really good in this game.
Yeah.
And I think he knew, they have two really good edge rushers. I can't sit here and hold the ball all game long. And I thought that his poise and sort of him managing the rush as a quarterback was really, really good in this game, which to me is sort of next level type of stuff. Like that's like the Brady stuff where it's like, all right, this is, we got a backup left tackle. They have these two really good edge rushers. I'm not going to sit here all day and hold the ball. And to be able to kind of help out your guys that way. Speaking of that, the offensive line, got to give them flowers, got to give flowers to Vidarian Lowe and Ben Brown. Started off a little slow for Vidarian Lowe. Had 3 hurries allowed early on in this game, 2 to Carter, 1 to Burns. But then really from like the middle of the second quarter on, he was clean the whole rest of the way. Really good performance from him. Ben Brown got called for the hold on Carter. Carter rushed over him on one play and he got called for a hold. But other than that, I thought that he was really solid in this game as well. They had these guys ready to play. And that's another testament to McDaniels, to Doug Marrone, to Cougs, to Jason Hotling, the offensive line coaches. Those guys did a great job getting Vidarian Lowe and Ben Brown ready to play, ready to go. Ben Brown is quickly turning into this Patriots version of Ted Karras. Like he's a starting caliber player, I think, maybe on the interior, but he's probably best as like a super sub, as a 6th offensive lineman. Yeah. And that's a extremely, now Ted has gone on to be a full-time starter and be a really good player in Miami and Cincinnati. But for now, like for Ben Brown, that's a really valuable piece to have. I don't know how long Jared Wilson's going to be out, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be as long as Will Campbell. So he's going to come back. But to have a guy like Ben Brown that can spot start for 2, 3, 4 games, and it doesn't really have a huge drop off. Not every team has backup interior play like that in the league. So he's been really solid.
No, he's been an important player for them. The Ted Karras comparison is apt, and I believe he's on a 1-year deal, right? Or no, is he still an RFA? Like he's somebody who's probably going to get a chance to go somewhere and start in the future. Maybe here, if they view, okay, he's the left guard, you move Jared Wilson inside, maybe somewhere else. But he's been good. Vidarian Lowe stepped up. Again, I think it helps that the right side is in better shape than it's been. He is a ERFA, by the way. Ben Brown, so he can be back next year. Yeah, no, those guys deserve a ton of credit for coming up the way they did. Like you said, it's one game. They're going to have to do it against Buffalo pass rush next week. That's going to take things to another level. But get to the end of that game, and I going through my takeaways. And I almost forgot to put the offensive line because they were what you want the offensive line to be, out of sight, out of mind. Down 2 starters, the third guy hurt. You're not expecting them to be out of sight. You're expecting that to be a talking point, and they played a very clean game.
Yeah, they were really solid in this game. I thought they saw some pressures pretty well as well on the left side, which I was a little bit worried about with 2 guys that haven't practiced a lot next to each other.
Yeah,
and I thought they were able to communicate through things.
And not just how much have they practiced against each other. David Andrews brought this up on our podcast a couple weeks ago. When you have 2 rookies starting, you're going to maximize their reps.
Yeah.
So even more than maybe, or even less than the average backup, like how many opportunities did those guys really get in practice before last week?
And going back to training camp, Vidarian Lowe was hurt.
That's right. I forgot. He missed most of the summer, didn't he?
For a lot of training camp, he was hurt. So, really just kudos to them, stepped up. Like you said, Buffalo and Baltimore coming up, like it's just one game and they gotta, you gotta do it more than just once. But if this is the level of play, I don't know if Vidarian Lowe is going to be quite this good. He was really good in this game. But if it's close to the level of play that you're going to get from Ben Brown and Vidarian Lowe until Campbell and Wilson come back, they're going to survive this. Like they'll weather this with those 2 guys down, which is really, I wasn't sure about that. I full hand up admit now it's one game. Let's see it for multiple. But I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to, survive this without Campbell. If this is what they get from Lowe, they will. And he was really solid in this game as well. A couple more standouts on offense, and we'll talk some defense and special teams. I got to talk about the Kyle Williams touchdown.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a release at the line of scrimmage by Kyle Williams.
Before we even get to that, I just want to give him credit. The play before Kayshon Boutte catches a comeback, it was 2nd and long, and I don't know what he did. He did something. He actually leaves the game, and he ended up on the sideline. They didn't have to stop the game, but he goes over to the sideline, sits down, and like the training staff comes over to him, and he was obviously fine. You know, he came back in the game later, whatever. But like he got hurt on that play, so that play's not designed for Kyle Williams. That's not like the Kyle Williams package that they had in the game. He has to come on the field, moment's notice, you know, as the backup for Kayshon Boutte, and then he, like you said, he makes an unbelievable play for a guy that, you know, we've wondered, is he on the same page? Is he in tune with the rest of the offense as much as he needs to be? To have a moment like that, it's not everything, but I think that's really encouraging. And credit to him for staying ready, being ready, getting there in the moment, and then boom, he's thrust into the game, unexpected, goes out, makes a play. Credit to Drake Maye, too, for trusting him in that situation, but I think that's a good sign that maybe things are trending in the right direction for Kyle Williams, because that's not easy to do. Come in cold and make a play like that, and he did it.
Yeah, so the Giants were really hoping that Paulson Adebayo being back was going to be good for their defense. He's one of their starting corners that's been out the last couple of weeks. And Kyle Williams just dusts Paulson Adebayo at the line of scrimmage with a little, one-step, stretch crossover release. And he just burned him. And when you are, well, first of all, Drake Maye, when they were kind of like running a Mabel like cover 3 type of coverage on the play where they're zoning the passing strength. So it's 3-by-1, 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. And they're playing zone to the passing strength of the formation on the right-hand side. So they're just playing a like spot drop cover 3 essentially. And the backside's man-to-man. They're your backside, you're locked man-to-man on the backside. So it's Adebayo versus Kyle Williams. When Drake Maye sees that from coverage, whether it's, post safety quarters, whatever, if you're backside man-to-man without safety help, he's hunting. That's a deep ball every single time. And it's kind of, a lot of teams play those types of coverages, but it kind of blows my mind that teams keep doing it against the Patriots, because Drake Maye has thrown that touchdown pass.
Right, especially in that spot of the field.
To Kayshon Boutte and now Kyle Williams at least half a dozen times.
How many of them, too, have been specifically in that corner of the stadium?
I
feel like he keeps doing it in that corner of the stadium.
Yeah, Cleveland was on that corner of the stadium to Kayshon Boutte. Coupled in New Orleans, they did it twice in New Orleans. Miami in week 2, he threw a touchdown to Boutte on backside 1-on-1. The
left to right, far side.
Titans in Tennessee.
Yeah,
he threw a bomb to Boutte again for a touchdown on the same kind of coverage, and then now to Kyle Williams. That's off the top of my head. That's 5 touchdown passes that he's thrown against that type of coverage. So if you keep doing that against Drake Maye, he's just going to keep hitting you with the go ball, and they're going to keep winning down the field. So I just put the safety over the top of on that side of the field. Yeah. Okay, stop doing that if you're a defense. But a really good release by Kyle Williams. Now, the 72-yard touchdown in Tampa. He has a 33-yard touchdown. It's the one catch he made in both games, right? So it's not all the way there in terms of volume, but these little flashes are at least more than what we saw from some of the other high draft pick receivers of the Patriots over the last handful of years. Like, this is more than we ever saw from N'Keal Harry, Tyquan Thornton, Jalen Polk, those types of players. So how encouraged are you right now about Kyle Williams, who's also, in his defense, is he's behind vets. Like they're playing Diggs, they're playing Matt Collins, they're playing Boutte, but I think Kyle Williams is starting to really show out here, and this is around the time where rookies start to emerge. Travion Henderson's doing it, Kyle Williams is doing it as well.
No, I think that, again, it's encouraging that to come on in that spot and make that play, I think shows a lot of growth. Do have a little bit of Patriots breaking news here.
Okay.
Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft are both among the finalists announced for the Hall of Fame class of 2026. Belichick, obviously, from the coaching committee, Kraft from the contributor committee.
Yes.
Stanley Morgan had been up from the seniors committee. He is not among the finalists.
Of course not. So these are 2 separate committees.
Yeah.
So they could go in together.
Right.
Just to be clear.
The way it works, there's the modern era, which is the main ballot that everybody knows about. And then they changed this last couple years of news. The coach committee, contributor committee, and seniors committee. So the coach and contributor each get 1 finalist. The seniors get 3, and then the modern era, I think, is 26 finalists. All those people, or no, I think it's 9 finalists. I think 26 is where they're at now. All of those people then go on to one big ballot at the end that all the committees vote on, and it's anywhere between 4 and 8. So they don't have to pick somebody from any of the committees. Like the seniors committee does not have to be represented. Like I think last year the coaching finalist was Holmgren, who obviously didn't get in. So they don't have to pick each one, but these are Bill and Robert on the final ballot.
So both deserve to get in, of course. This night, though, NFL honors 2025. It would be in 2026 technically, but for the
class of 2026.
Yeah, for the 2025 season in the class of 2026 is all the AP postseason award, accolades, all the awards, MVP, player, offensive player of the year, coach of the year. All of those awards are presented at the NFL honors the night before or the couple days before the Super Bowl.
I think it's that Thursday usually.
And then so is the Hall of Fame class.
Right.
So there is a chance that on that night, Mike Vrabel could win Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Drake Maye could win MVP. Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick could get into the Hall of Fame. Adam Vinatieri could get into the Hall of Fame. Rodney Harrison could get into the Hall of Fame. Like, this could be Patriots Palooza. And that also isn't including Josh McDaniels as potential assistant coach of the year. Stephon Diggs nominated for comeback player of the year. Like the Patriots.
You left somebody out. There's 3. I mean, there's a couple other guys who are here for a cup of coffee, but the 3 guys on the modern era that are waiting for the next cut. Rodney, you said Vinatieri. Big Vince.
Yeah, him too.
Throw Big Vince in there.
Yeah, so we're talking about a night, and I know we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, and we'll get back to this Giants breakdown, but we're talking about a night at NFL Honors in February that could literally be a Patriots.
I mean, that could be. We've talked about the Patriots.
I know what the word is. I don't want to use it on the air, but I know what the word is.
Well, let me put it this way. We've talked about the Patriots being back, right? In the national sense.
Adult film is what it is.
Well, all right. Yes. But also, we talked about the Patriots being back in the national sense.
Yes.
Think about this. They go in and take over NFL honors when they're potentially on their way to the Super Bowl. Like, you can't hide at that point.
No.
I think there's some people that are still closing their eyes and trying to hide. And, it'll be over soon. They're a young team, weak schedule. They get bounced in the playoffs. If we get to that point, past, present, future, it's all there. You can't hide. As Scott Zolak said, America's nightmare would be fully back if that were to happen.
Yeah, it's and
by the way,
incredible.
I do think. I mean, Bill's going to get in first ballot. Obviously.
I hope so.
I mean, I feel the modern era class is not as strong as it's been the last few years. So there's some guys obviously that are going to get in, but this does feel like more of a year where like the seniors committee and the all that maybe get a little more weight.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously Bill should be in first ballot,
right?
But just decide really quickly. If Vinatieri doesn't get in this year, it's just.
I was furious last year. I'm still kind of mad.
I don't really understand it. I'll get over it if they let him in this year, but it should be a slam dunk home run that Vinatieri's a Hall of Famer. Back to the Giants game. A couple of other skill players that I thought were really good in this game. Hunter Henry just continues to be just an awesome player for this football team. Really, really good. The 36-yarder explosive was a great bit of, coverage manipulation, a little pump fake by Drake Maye to open the passing lane, but Henry's right where he's supposed to be. A couple of big third down catches as well that were kind of sneaky important in this game to get this lead built. Henry's just awesome. Just continues to be awesome. He also, the Williams touchdown was one of the small handful of times where they really load up protection and they went with 7 blockers in the protection and they left Henry in to block and they had just an incredibly clean pocket for Drake Maye on the Williams touchdown. You're just like, he was having a picnic back there throwing that ball. So Henry was in that protection as well. In the last one, this is emergence, and again, this kind of goes the same with Kyle Williams. You often see this with rookies where the back half of the season they start to come on and you get the player you expected. Travion Henderson is really starting to emerge. 86 total yards from scrimmage, 14 touches. He was by far their most efficient, highest yard per carry average runner between him and Ramondre Stevenson. I understand that people want to see Henderson out snap and really take over this backfield. I will just say what I've said all year long, and that is I want them to continue to manage Travion Henderson a little bit. I don't want him to be a bell cow. I don't want him to, get worn down. It's a long season. The playoffs are coming. You want him to be your Jahmyr Gibbs, your dynamic weapon come playoff time. It's fine. It's fine. They're going to beat teams like the Giants. They're going to beat teams like the Dolphins and the Jets with platooning these backs. When the time comes and it comes to those big, sort of moments and big drives, I would like to see Travion out there and being an impact player for them. But for right now, let's keep Travion Henderson fresh and let's not ride him into the ground.
Hopefully by the time they get to Miami and the Jets, like we see a bigger dose of Terrell Jennings, or maybe somebody comes up off the practice squad or something like that.
He was, but Henderson was really good. And I thought that in particular, what was really good about Henderson in this game is that last field goal drive that made it a 3-score game again. They really, he had the 26-yard run, which is his big run of the day. But he also grinded out some really tough, like kind of dirty yards on that drive. And that's what you want. That was a 12, 13 play, 6-minute clock killing drive. Let's kick the field goal to make it an 18-point game. That was like one of those, like, let's put this game to bed type of drives. And they really kind of did it on the back of Travion Henderson.
Yeah, they did. I'll say too, like, I thought Ramondre ran well in this game. Obviously, Henderson was good, but we talked about the physicality of the defense. Let's not lose track the physicality offense. I have not seen Ramondre Stevenson run that hard in a minute. And, maybe got a couple weeks off dealing with the toe injury, just overall physically was able to reset a little bit. I thought both backs looked good in this game.
Yeah, the running game was not good situationally, but they did have some success between the 20s, and they were able to run the ball a little bit in this game, as you would expect against the Giants defense. Just quickly on the Patriots defense, I have some nitpicks here in the bads, but I thought the pass defense was really good in this game. The coverage I thought was excellent for most of the game. Christian Gonzalez looked like he was in cruise control. Like these receivers for the Giants, it was light work for Christian Gonzalez, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Darius Slayton. No offense, but it was like he was, having a stroll in the park for this entire game. He was dominant in this one as well. And then, I thought that they tried to dial up some shots. The Giants did, especially off of under center play action. And the Patriots had it covered. They had some good kind of coverage wrinkles to handle some of the 2 and 3 man route combinations at cover 3 and quarters in this game as well. So really the other thing too with the pass defense, not necessarily that I thought it was great per se, because they gave up the 30-yard touchdown on a cover 0. They're clearly trying to get some get their exotic blitz package installed and practiced in game settings.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that they're going to want to have at their disposal come playoff time, is being a little bit more exotic in terms of bringing pressure and simulating pressure, where you line up a bunch of guys on the line of scrimmage and who's coming, who's going. Sometimes you bluff out of it and you drop out of it. Sometimes you bring it. That's been clearly something that they're trying to get some game reps out of. Like even at the end of this game, it's 33-15. The last 2 plays of that Giants final drive, their cover 0 blitz, and I think a reason why it was not because they necessarily felt like they needed to make a play. It was 33-15 at that point, but I think they want to try to get that thing going and try to make that something that they can lean on come playoff time to generate pressure. But the coverage in this game I thought was really good.
Yeah. It's the Giants again. They're gonna have to step up. The Bills don't have much at the wide receiver position either. But and how about Gonzalez?
Yeah,
lowering the shoulder on Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah,
I see him hit like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was going to mention that too. I'm glad you brought it up. Even the corners tackle, like Carlton Davis threw a dude to the ground for a 3-yard loss. Gonzalez is tackling now. He's doing it as like the flat defender in cover 2. It's like the easiest tackle to make, but he's still doing it.
But he put a little more oomph into it than he needed to.
That's not his game, and they even got the corners tackling.
They played FU football. Yeah. That's what that was. That was FU football. I hope we see more of it. That was awesome.
Okay, we got to talk a little bit about the special teams. Marcus Jones, 94-yard punt return. I think that Marcus Jones might be Devin Hester's Devin Hester. he might be the second best punt returner I've ever seen. Devin Hester's in his own category.
I mean, it was a very brief window. Let's not forget Dante Hall. Dante Hall was electric.
Yeah, Dante Hall was electric.
He's like entering that. Look, statistically, he's the best in NFL history.
Yeah, highest average
by
in
like
NFL
2
history.
yards, I think, by 2 yards per return. So that punt return. Give me a second here, because you're gonna I'm gonna say, well, that was really impressive punt return, all things considered. Well, yeah, of course it was. It was a touchdown. Like, even as far as punt return touchdowns go. Like, sometimes it's you make a guy miss and the coverage screws up, or
right.
The blocking's all there and you just get a clear runway. You just have to go. The punter outkicked his coverage. Like, even if you were to rank just the touchdowns, just the punt return touchdowns, that one would be towards the top of the list for me, because it's so many of the boxes you look for in an elite returner. He used everything in the toolbox.
Yeah,
the patience, the vision, the speed, the balance. I mean, look, I know it's the punter, but Jamie Gillen's not a small guy to
he's
shake
also
him.
was it like rugby, Aussie rules.
Yeah.
So, like, he's also like a former it might be Gaelic football, but he's like a former Gaelic football player, I think it is, and like those guys have to tackle in that sport. So this is not a guy that doesn't know how to tackle.
To get him to shake him along the sideline, as close to the sideline as he was, balance and body control is a huge part of that job.
Yeah.
And so and he almost broke another one later too. Just tremendously impressive. He is the best punt returner in the league right now. We want to get in historic context. Devin Hester, we could talk about that. Dante Hall, the human joystick, but it's, even as far as touchdowns go, that was a high level punt return.
Yeah, it was really good. So he's one of the best I've ever seen do it. He continues to just do it at an extremely high level. Like, even little things like that fair catch that he had before halftime in the 2-minute drill. Like, he runs like 15 yards to make sure the ball doesn't bounce. And he fair catches it, which instead of the ball bouncing and then rolling inside the 20, it's a fair catch at the 23. Like, that's 10, 15 yards. That's important yardage in that situation. So he's even like does like the little detail things like that. As a punt returner, bluffing, the ball going over his head and going into the end zone when it's a touchback, right? Like, and, selling that to the defense, fair catches to avoid the ball rolling on him. Obviously Howson punts, he had a 17-yard return on top of the 94-yard return as well in this game. So just excellent. They also, and this kind of goes back to the whole thing of like, tough teams cover kicks, and like when you dominate on special teams like the Patriots did on Monday night, like, you are just the more physical, more, locked in, tougher football team. And they had the big return on the kickoff, 39-yard return by Terrell Jennings on a kickoff. And then, of course, they recovered a fumble on a Giants kickoff as well. In all sincerity, I hope Gunnar Olszewski is okay. But they recovered the fumble on that as well. And then, of course, we had Younghoe Koo having one of the worst kick attempts I've ever seen. Putting all this together, the Patriots special teams just thoroughly dominated. So this was really like a 3-phase domination. Offense, defense, and special teams were all super dominant in this game for the Patriots. All right, let's get to some of the nitpicks. And I'll say, like, this is all nitpicky, like, stuff to work on.
There's one that's a little more than a nitpick, but yeah.
I think that one's in the stuff that gets you beat category, if we're on the same page. The Patriots' run defense is worrying me, not a lot, because I should say not a lot.
Whoa, the Browns have designated Deshaun Watson return to practice.
Oh yeah, that was coming.
Oh, that was.
Yeah. The reason why I'm not in like any sort of panic about the run defense is because Tonga and Milton Williams are supposed to be coming back, right? So a big part of this is that you're missing your 335-pound nose tackle and you're missing your best defensive lineman. So if you get those two guys back, then in theory, your run defense should come back around. But after really having an excellent first 9 weeks of the season, the Patriots' run defense in the last 4 games of the season, Alex, are allowing a 55.1% success rate. That is dead last in the NFL. They are the worst run defense in football the last month of the season. They are 25th in EPA. They're dead last in success rate. They're allowing almost 5 yards a carry. It's like 4.8 or 4.9 yards a carry during that stretch of time. So that's Tampa, Cincinnati, the Giants, and the Jets are doing that to the Patriots run defense right now. The Giants, 4.7 yards a clip against the Patriots on Monday night. Really were able to run the ball pretty well and effectively. Now, again, they're getting their guys back, but I'm going to come on your side of the street a little bit with this take. This is kind of a sneaky run first AFC field. Buffalo, Baltimore, Indy, Jacksonville, and all built on their run game.
Denver's going to need to be able to run the football to win. Maybe they're not built on their run game, but they're going to need to be able to.
Yeah, and I think the Chargers' run game would be better if they had their linemen healthy, like if Joe Alt comes back. But all four of those teams that I just named, Buffalo, Baltimore, Indy, Jacksonville, are very, very good. All top 10 in rush EPA, but also just that's their engine of their offense is their run game. So in the playoffs, when you get to the postseason, it's always a styles win fight, boxing kind of analogy where it's like weakness versus weakness or strength versus weakness, one game playoff. If you don't get your run defense in order, let's not even jump to the playoffs. For Buffalo and Baltimore, Buffalo just ran for 250 yards against Pittsburgh.
Well,
so
I would like to think the Patriots would adjust after the Bills run the same play 5 or 6 times in a row.
I would
the
like
Steelers
to think
did.
so too, but run game, it's mentality. And at some point, you just are getting dog walked in the run game. And there's just
no, they're going to need to be better there.
They're going to need to be a lot better in the run game. I'm more concerned about it in a short-term sense because of Baltimore and Buffalo coming right off the bye week, and Milton Williams won't be back for those games. 100% won't be back. There is a chance they're going to get Tonga back. And I think maybe resting him in this game was part of that. Let's rest him, give him the bye week as well, and then let's get him back for Buffalo when we're really going to need him. But James Cook is going to torch this run defense if they play run defense like they have the last month of the season.
Yeah, no, they're going to need to be better, and that's, getting Tonga back would be huge. I thought Corey Durden played okay in this game, even with all their run game struggles, but you're going to need him to take another level. And then the linebackers too. And, those guys coming downhill and trying to make contact earlier.
Agreed.
They got a lot to fix there.
They need to run it. They need the linebackers to play better as well. I'm glad you brought that up because I think they're a little bit late to trigger to some of these combination blocks. And if you're getting double teamed in the inside, and that's what teams are doing because they don't have Milton Williams or Tonga. So Durden, Farmer, Gregory, the Farms, those guys are seeing a lot of double teams on the inside. They're just running inside zone or duo with those combination blocks. And those linebackers like Ellis, Gibbons, Splint, you have to trigger downhill at the line of scrimmage to get the double team off the defender. Otherwise, they're just going to move the ball, move them off the line of scrimmage. The run defense is one, sticking into the similar, line of scrimmage thing. Their third and short offense is sneaky not good. Sneaky not good because they're so good in third and long that it's kind of washing it out so that their third down average overall is pretty good.
Yeah.
So right now, and this is so bizarro land, they're 30th in the league on 3rd and 1. They're 4th in the league on 3rd and 7+. So they're actually almost just as good on 3rd and long as they are on 3rd and 1. The percentage wise, they're almost just that shouldn't happen, right? You should be have a much higher rate on 3rd and 1.
With the goal line stuff and just they're not really get that push in those short yardage situations.
Yeah. So in terms of full short yardage, which is considered 0 to 3 yards, they're 23rd in the league in conversion rate. But if you look specifically at just 3rd and a yard or less, they're 30th in the league at 50%. So they all of a sudden it's when they're in 3rd and 9, I have all the confidence in the world that they're going to somehow convert. But when they're in 3rd and 1, I have 0. Totally backwards.
It was encapsulated in that game. They have the 3rd and 1. I think it was in the 3rd quarter, right, where Ramondre gets stuffed. Now, I don't think it should have been a 4th and 5. I think he had forward momentum in the refs. That was a terrible spot, but it was. I think it was actually 4th and 6, right?
Yep.
3rd and 1, big run and stuff. 4th and 6, they're going for it. I'm not looking at the math, so I don't know what the math says, but in my mind, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And then I was like, that's absolutely crazy that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not it's absolutely crazy that they're doing it.
It's because they're so good at it.
And I'm like, and I remember thinking before the play, Diggs is going to sit down somewhere in the middle field and Drake's going to hit him. It's wild.
Yeah, they're top 5 in the league in 4th down conversion rate. I do kind of want to talk about that in the second half of the show because I have some opinions on this whole 4th down thing as you can imagine. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about going for 2 up 9 as well, or down 9, I should say, as well. But yeah, the third down short offense, third and short offense, excuse me, on the bads, like needs to be better than it has been. They were actually kind of good at it early. Like they had that 1 3rd and 1 run early that gained 8 yards. They ran and I also should add to this, like they are kind of starting to try to empty the clip a little bit on some new things. In this game, they ran a couple of plays out of an unbalanced line. They actually put Austin Hooper at left tackle and Vidarian Lowe played the jumbo tight end next to Morgan Moses on the right side a couple of times. They tried a play, it was 2nd down, but they tried to play in Wildcat with Ramondre Stevenson as well. So they know. And like, this isn't like they're just going to, say, oh, well, like we're just not good at it. Like they're starting to try some new things, but I have some thoughts when we get to the stuff that gets you beat on like maybe what might be coming that's missing. The last thing on the bads before we get to that though, as good as the return units were, Borgalis missed a 45-yarder.
Yeah.
I didn't think he kicked the ball particularly well in this game either. And Behringer, like, I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah, he had another shank.
Yeah, 22-yard miss hit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know either, but he had another shank. But luckily for them, neither one had the worst kick of the night. I mean, that's an all-timer.
Yeah.
That's...
I've never seen anything like that.
Buddy, that was the worst kick of the century.
I've never seen anything like that.
Because he can kick it. I've watched a lot
attempt.
I've watched a lot of football in my life, I would like to think. Evan, as you know, I've watched a lot of not top-tier football in my life.
So true.
I've seen the kicker kick the ball into the long snapper.
Yeah.
Just like line drive it right into his back or in the back of his head. I've seen that.
That probably hurts.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I've never seen the kick. That's like the worst whip. I've seen the kicker fall down, but even when he falls down, he hits the ball. I've never seen him miss the ball. Let me ask you, there were 2 plays in that game that were just like excellent rewatchable replays. What's the more, well, I know you because you don't care about special teams. What's the more rewatchable replay? I'll throw it out to the YouTube chat. The Younghoe Koo miss or the Christian Ellis hit on Jackson Dart?
I loved it, so I'm going to hit.
The hit's up there, and it's just like
awesome.
the way Dart kind of flails after he gets hit just makes it so good. But
I mean,
there's going to be a lot of people that watch that non-kick over and over and over too.
That was rough, and Dart's reaction was pretty good too. All right,
and by the way, I liked it. Just to circle back, I liked that Christian Ellis when he was asked about it after the game was like, "Yeah, I get why the Giants came after me. Like, I get it. We do the same for Drake. Like, good for him. Laid out a big hit." Clean hit, but didn't like, well, it was a clean hit. I don't know why they'd retaliate, blah, blah, blah. Like, you hit a quarterback like that.
I would hope the Patriots would retaliate.
Right, exactly. You got to know that's coming, and you know it's coming, and it still shouldn't stop you from delivering that hit. So I did credit to Christian Ellis. I thought it was awesome after the game that he was just like, yep, I hit their quarterback. Should have slid, didn't slide. I hit him. They came after me. That's football. We move on. Like, I loved that. Was a great answer. I loved that answer from him. I just wanted to get that in there.
The YouTube is saying hit.
Yeah,
the hit.
The hit is
He
freaking
threw
awesome.
his entire family generation into that hit.
Yeah,
it was.
I mean, there's people, and I don't mean this in like a negative way or a mean way, but like if you just started watching football in the last 4 or 5 years, that's like the biggest hit you've ever seen. Like that, because they don't hit like that anymore. So like you didn't see like Sean Taylor laying guys out,
so I will say,
like Brandon Merriweather like taking guys out over the middle. Like you didn't see that.
There was a similar hit when the Patriots played the Bucs on Drake a few weeks ago.
It wasn't that. It
wasn't that explicit, but like they also didn't flag that one, and they're starting to not flag. There was one on Allen too that probably should have been flagged against the Steelers. He slid instead of going out of bounds, but it was right on that borderline there.
Yeah.
They're starting to not throw that flag as much, which, look, obviously player safety, you want to protect the players, but it had gone so far in the other direction where, and this is not knocking Patrick Mahomes, credit to him for knowing what he can get away with, and other quarterbacks are doing this too, but it was kind of the Mahomes special. They knew when they got near the sideline, the defender was going to pull up because they didn't want the flag, so they tiptoe for that extra 5 yards, right?
Right.
So it had gotten too far. They're starting to not throw that flag, and now quarterbacks have to earn the corner if they want to turn the corner. I think that's a good thing. Yeah. So I'm not.
Once you're a runner, you're a runner.
Right, but they hadn't called it that way, and now they're being consistent a little more about, hey, like Drake took that hit, Allen took that hit, now Dart takes that hit, no flag. yeah, you want to try to milk every yard you can get, you're going to get hit sometimes. That needs to be the cost for it. And look, if quarterbacks are like, fine, I'll take the hit, it's going to annoy a lot of coaches, but okay, that's your prerogative.
Basically what Dart said after the game.
Right. And other quarterbacks may be like, look, if it's the fourth quarter, if that's third down, yeah, you want to go for it. That was going to be 3rd and 1 early in the game. I like that they're making quarterbacks think a little more now if they want to turn that corner and get those extra couple yards.
I saw a little. I gained a little bit of respect, in all sincerity, for Theo Johnson and the Giants, that they reacted the way that they did.
Theo Johnson, in that sense, and just in the way he played, he was probably the one player in the Giants that I came away with really impressed in this game.
Yeah, that's how you should react. And
yeah, absolutely.
Just across sports, real quickly. Like I am big on that in hockey as well.
Yeah.
Like, we watch a lot of hockey in our house, as you know. And when somebody comes after Pasta and the Bruins don't react to it, it pisses me off. I'm like, no, you don't get to come headhunt the best player and not have repercussions for it, right? Like, Kaslik or somebody's got to fight the guy, right? Like that's just the way it is in hockey. That's the way it is in football.
Yeah.
Like, if Drake Maye got hit like that on the sideline, I would fully expect the entire sideline to want to kill the guy. That's how it goes. Like, you
got to protect the quarterback.
That's how it goes. All right. On to the stuff that gets you beat. The one thing that could get the Patriots beat, the red zone offense, man. We're in a slump.
Still not good.
We're in a slump. So as of right now, they weren't this bad at the beginning of the year in the red zone. So their red zone efficiency is like middle of the pack. It's not awful. But the last month or so of the season, it's not been good. 1-5 in the red zone this week. And when I look at it, because a lot of people ask, like, what's wrong with the red zone offense? I don't think you can just point to one thing. I think it's a whole thread. Like, once you start pulling the thread, it's just, there's a lot going on with the red zone offense. I think the 3 main buckets, though, that I can probably put into this that I see. One, they're 30th right now in red zone rushing success. They can't run the ball down there. And we talked about this last week. Running the ball in is the easiest way to score once you get inside the 5-yard line. There's no other way to put it. Like, that is the easiest way to score down there, and they can't run the ball. They can't get the push on the line of scrimmage. They can't even get a yard on the goal line.
Yeah.
So they can't run the ball down there in the red zone.
It's funny. They can get to the 1. They'll run from the 5 or the 4 to the 1, and then they get tackled at the 1, and they can't get that next yard.
So they can't run the football down there. Fixing that is easily number 1 on the list of ways to fix this problem. Like, if you can start running the football effectively down there, and I have some thoughts on that in a second, but I just want to pull, what's going wrong first. That's number 1. Number 2, the one sort of like nitpick last frontier for Drake Maye, in my opinion, is processing in the red zone. And most of it is pre-snap processing in the red zone. And I want to just say this, like, he's a second-year quarterback, and we can't lose sight of that. Like, he's a 23-year-old second-year quarterback.
I wanted to ask you this along those lines. Would you say he's further ahead pre-snap processing or post-snap processing?
Post-snap. He's really good at processing post-snap.
It's interesting because doesn't it usually go the other way?
I don't know. No, I would say it goes this way, because pre-snap, it's hard. Like, it's hard to be able to look at the shell of the defense and anticipate what everybody's going to do on a play. And you might think but are you 100%? And I think what happens sometimes with Drake Maye, and I don't know, this is just my opinion. I've never asked him. I don't know. But sometimes I think that he just kind of goes with, I'm just going to run the play.
Yeah.
And I don't know 100%, but I'm just going to run the play. So I'll give you one example. I put it in after further review. It's kind of hard for me to describe it on the air if you want to see the visual. But it was the incomplete pass on 3rd down to Stephon Diggs in the corner of the end zone. And the Giants show cover 0 pre-snap. So they have man-to-man across the board, cover 0, no safety. It was like the 3-yard line, so there's no point in putting the safety back. And then they were going to bring the house. They're going to bring pressure. And Drake Maye calls Hunter Henry in to stay in to block on the play. So by default, when as a quarterback that the tight end is blocking, his man defender now becomes a free player.
Right.
Because he doesn't have to cover Hunter Henry because Hunter Henry's blocking. So there's one of two things that could happen. Either that guy's going to blitz and he's going to, green dog it and he's going to join the rush, or he's going to drop into like a robber zone, right? But either way, that player is now, he's public enemy number one now, right? Like he's your issue. He's your problem that you have to solve. So on the play, they have 2 routes to Drake's right and 1 route to Drake's left, backside route by Kayshon Boutte. So on the right-hand side, they just run like a classic, like slant corner, smash type of concept that you see in the red zone all the time. And Hunter Henry's guy is on that side of the formation, and he just drops right into the slant window. So now you have to throw the low percentage corner fade to the back of the end zone to Stephon Diggs. So now, just from a numbers perspective, you have 3 Giants defenders covering 2 Patriots receivers on that side of the field. On the back side of the formation, you have Kayshon Boutte, who's just one-on-one with his man. So when you look at this shell pre-snap, I would like to see Drake Maye get to the backside of that, because he's going to have the numbers even on the backside one-on-one, whereas on the other side, that help defender, that free defender that falls off Hunter Henry has now become a problem. So now instead of just being able to throw the slant to Matt Collins for an easy touchdown, now you have to go over the top and you have to throw the fade, which is obviously a low percentage throw. So those are the sort of the little things in terms of like his pre-snap and kind of understanding where is the easiest throw to make down here that I think that he could probably improve upon. That's not to say he's the only problem. That's not to say he's not great. He's not the MVP. I'm just telling you, like, these are little things that are happening under the hood with him on tape.
Right.
That, he could improve on, again, as a second-year guy. Like, we're not 10 years into this. He's not Tom Brady, right? So he's not going to come to the line of scrimmage and dominate pre-snap at the line of scrimmage as a second-year quarterback. Neither was Brady in 2001, I promise you. He was not, being the chess master that he ended up being. So it's a process. It's a process. And also, processing down by the red zone is probably one of the hardest things to do because it happens so much faster than it does in the middle of the field. So that is easily the hardest thing to do as a young quarterback in the NFL is red zone processing. So putting those 2 things together, Alex, they can't run the ball. Drake Maye is probably final frontier, his final hurdle as a quarterback is, progressions and pre-snap processing down in the red zone. So the one thing that I think that could kind of solve all of this, not solve all of it, but help. Yeah. Oh, last thing. They don't have Tonga. So that to me is a big part of this too.
I was talking to somebody about this the other day. You know who I don't even know if miss is the right word, but like Brock Lampy injury kind of looms a little bit. And they need a fullback. I've seen people ask, like, do they need a fullback this offseason? Yes. It'll be interesting to see. Well, here's the thing. Do they need one, or do they look at it and be like, well, we're going to get Lampy back and he's the guy?
Sure. Possible.
So, I mean, just remember that. We get to the, they need a fullback. They still have Brock Lampy. At least for now, they still do. But they miss somebody in that role. Like Jack Westover,
like a true sledgehammer,
trying to adjust. Yeah, he's just not that kind of player.
Yeah. So hopefully when they get Tonga back, that will also help because he's a battering ram and he can
he's
open up
probably
some
the closest they have.
Yeah. So those are the 3 buckets of things that I look at with the red zone offense is like what is going wrong with the red zone offense. Right. Now let's fix it. In terms of the fixes, one thing just looking at their run game without getting into some of the bells and whistles that we can discuss, I don't think that this is an offensive line that is very good at vertical displacement, like running downhill. So I wouldn't mind them trying to run more outside and kind of using the offensive line's athleticism instead of its power in some of these situations, and Travion Henderson's athleticism too, right? And his speed to the edge. So I wouldn't hate like some tosses, some crack tosses, those misdirection flips, like things like that. I think maybe is better for this group than other groups because they're probably a little bit better moving laterally than they are moving vertically up the field and trying to win with power. The other elements, I do think there could be a little bit more window dressing down there. The Chiefs and other teams like that are really good at using like those return motions where the guy comes in and he goes back out and you have to pass it and figure it all out defensively. Like they could try to go smoke and mirrors down there and just dress everything up with window dressing and just try to confuse the crap out of the defense. But the last thing that I think is coming, when the games get higher stakes, they're not really running Drake down in the red zone yet. And they're not really using his mobility to leverage it against the defense. Like every once in a while, they'll run a zone read just to have him hold the backside, but he's not really keeping it yet.
Right.
So is that the last element, more, zone read, more RPO. And when it comes playoff time and you're in the playoff game and you're in the fourth quarter and you're at the 2-yard line and you need a touchdown, then you start to unlock like letting Drake run.
Yeah, I mean, they've said they'll do it to win games. They tried one, I think, against Cincinnati, or was it a busted play? There's one that looked like a designed run, but it might have been like for a late flip. I've said this before. I think that you'd rather run him not enough than too much. You'd rather err on the side of caution, but I don't think that number needs to be 0. And if it's just in the red zone, so be it. They had one where they spread out. They went 5 wide, and the Giants were... So last week, they tried to run the ball a ton in the red zone. This week, I don't know if it was being discouraged about the run game, whatever, personnel. There was more like a run-pass split when they got close to the goal line, and I think the Giants were sitting on that. Yeah. There was one where they came out 5 wide, and the Giants kind of spread it out, and I was like, oh, QB draw. Here you go. Then they motioned Ramondre, and I think that was the one where they ended up throwing it to him in the flat for no gain. I think it was from like the 3-yard line.
Yeah.
Like even just something as simple as that. You don't need to do it a ton, but maybe when you get to like 3rd and goal from the 1 and you've exhausted everything else, like they should try to mix it in.
I have been waiting all season because they ran it, and look, he's a different kind of athlete, but they ran it a bunch with Cam. I've been waiting all season for them to motion the running back in to create empty and then to run QB power downhill at the line of scrimmage. I've been waiting all year to see them do that. Now, Drake Maye is not 245 pounds like Cam Newton was.
Right.
So running him inside might not be something that you want to do on a regular basis because he's not built like that. But if you get the defense off guard, like he's going to just waltz in.
Right. Again, it feels like they've more than set up the draw.
Yeah.
The shotgun draw.
And maybe that's something that they're trying to put on tape is the setup. And then, when they play Buffalo and they can win the division in week 15 by beating Buffalo and it's the 4th quarter and it's a tie game and you're inside the 5.
Right now it's
pull it out.
Yeah.
I think that's possible. But adding Drake Maye's mobility into their low red zone and goal line package, I think would, and I'm not talking about sneaks. I'm talking about like design quarterback runs. That I think it would go a really long way to fixing this thing. So they have the good news about the red zone offense, Alex, is that they have some options. Like they have some things that they still could do that they haven't done yet that I think could help. And so that's always good. Like when you exhaust all options and you still can't score down there, that's when it gets weary.
Hat and t-shirt game, division rival coming up off the bye. Next week is the week to me you start breaking some of that stuff out.
All right, we got to pay the bills. We'll be right back after the break, and we'll open up the calls and the emails.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
With FedEx One Rate, you can ship to your student for a simple, predictable flat rate. Send a box full of home-baked treats that say, "Your father and I miss you." Or send a box full of instant noodles that says, "Your father and I would like you to stop asking us for money." Either way, one rate fits all. FedEx One Rate. 2-day shipping, one flat rate. Starting at $14.50. Visit FedEx.com/OneRate for details. Exclusions apply.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
Catch-22.
Alex, nothing says football season like firing up the grill in the backyard and having a cookout. I mean, it might be a little bit cold up here to do that, but if you have the weather in your favor, then I love a great cookout. And the best cookouts have the best looking lawns. The lawns that are cut with an Aaron's mower. Aaron's, the official lawnmower of the New England Patriots, is proud to help Patriots fans get back to football. Visit www.aarons.com to find your Aaron's. All right, let's get to these calls. I know you guys have all been waiting for a while. Jared is in New Jersey. What's up, Jared?
Hey, what's up, guys?
How we doing?
Just got a couple things here. Just want to shout out two guys that I noticed just doing it week in, week out. Christian Barmore, he's just an amazing player. He's a true football player. Matt Collins also. This guy, you throw him the ball, he catches it. You ask him to do something, he'll do it. I just love him. Two guys that I just think are great for this team. My last thing, it's a free agency question. You might not be able to get to it, but Zach Ertz, this guy's killing it on the Commanders. Daniels and Mariota love him. Do you see him as a fit maybe next year? Maybe coming in a free agency? Yeah, that's basically it. Thank you, guys.
You said Zach Ertz?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Zach Ertz is interesting. That guy's like the guy that, like, he's aging like fine wine.
Yeah, he's another one of these ageless players.
Yeah. I don't know if he's a fit. I don't mean that because I don't like him as a player. They have Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. I think they kind of need to move in the other direction at tight end, which is get younger at the position and not get older. Barmore's a good shout out. Like, Barmore is now the guy on that defensive line. He's seeing all sorts of double teams. He's still making plays. I thought he was really, really good in this game for the most part. A couple double teams like everybody that he got pushed around on a little bit, but had some really high level reps, even reps that like led to plays for other guys that were he's plugging gaps and moving guys and then allowing his teammates to finish up the play. Barmore is he's doing his best without his wingman there. It's hard without Milton Williams. He's doing his best. All right. Randy is in Providence. What's up, Randy? Randy,
what's up?
All right. Call back, Randy. You were on hold for a while. If you're still there. Patty, what's up, Patty? How we doing?
What's up, guys?
Hey.
So I just wanted to kind of piggyback on one thing that Alex said, but before I do that, this team kind of reminds me of a couple of Patriots teams from the past. One of them is the 94 Patriots team, which I didn't get to watch a lot of because I was in Marine Corps boot camp and SLY subsequently. But that team had a, second-year Drew Bledsoe who kind of went off, but it also had a team. They signed Marion Butts to come in here and be kind of that sledgehammer running back, and just never lived up to fruition. And the 03 team, which just kept finding ways to win, no matter what. I mean, they had a few ugly games. They won in shootouts. They won in blowouts. Kind of reminds me a little bit of this team. But Alex, what you said earlier about consistency.
Yep.
I said this a couple weeks ago. Like, there's a few teams in the league. Actually, there's really only two that just week in, week out just find ways to win. It's us and the Broncos. And Evan, I know you're not scared about going into Denver, but kind of give props to my man Spee. It's one of those places like Miami. It's a house of horrors. Even when we had Brady, even when we had Bledsoe, we could.
How long ago did Drew Bledsoe play, Patty?
01 was his last year. So
yeah.
You're going,
I don't know if he's going to be suiting up for the Patriots in the playoffs. Okay.
But a little fun fact, Evan, they've never won a playoff game in Denver ever.
Yeah.
And I know, like,
Heard
eventually the worm has to turn, and it has to change. Yeah, if we get to play them this year in Denver, I'm hoping that they take it, and I think this team will find a way to win if that happens. So even though I'm giving props to my man Spee, I'm kind of in your camp too. I'm not at this point right now at 11-2. I'm really not afraid to play any team, and that's all I got, guys.
Thanks, Patty.
Thanks, Patty.
I don't want to fully do the whole Denver thing again, but I think the problem that I have with the whole it's like a house of horrors thing is first of all, playoff games in Denver. So the AFC title game against Peyton, that was 2013 or
15.
Oh, 15. Yeah. They played them twice though, didn't they?
Yeah, I think one might have been divisional. No, they were both AFC championships.
Yeah, and they lost both of them.
Yeah.
So that's 2015 and 2013, I want to say. And then the Jake Plummer
That was the Ben Watson game, right?
That's 2005, right? So Brady's first playoff loss. So we're just going off of we're talking about a 3-game sample size. And I don't want to do this whole thing again.
The altitude is something. That doesn't mean the Patriots can't win, but the altitude is something.
Okay. The second thing that I would just say about the whole Denver thing is, one of that thing is that it's a tiny little sample size, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is we just named the 3 games. It was 2015, 2013, 2005, I believe it was. Might have been 06 technically, but 05
the
season.
05 season, yeah.
That was 10, 12, 20 years ago. So what relevancy does the fact that Tom Brady lost his first playoff game to Jake Plummer on a stupid Saturday night where Ben Watson clearly, got the ball out of Champ Bailey's hand? What relevancy does that have to the 2025 Patriots?
I don't think there's relevancy there. I think it's just people trying to prove the point that, hey, going to Denver is never an easy task. That's just the reality of it. It's one of the better between the elevation, which is a thing, and also credit to that crowd. They show up. It is one of the tougher, and then it's going to be cold. It's going to be nasty out. It is one of the tougher visits in the NFL.
I think that
doesn't mean they can't go and win there.
But you could so the problem with that.
We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Would you rather go to Denver or Indy? Indy's such an easier.
Yes, but the problem with that thing. Is other than anecdotally listening to players talk about playing in Denver.
Yeah.
The in terms of Denver's record at home over the last really going all the way back to John Elway, Denver's been one of the better teams in the league. So obviously their record is better at home than most of the teams in the NFL. Just like if you looked at the Patriots record at home over the last 25 years, it's going to be really, really good. And I don't know if this is some great home field advantage or if they just had Tom Brady for 20 years and they just were great. And so he won at home a lot.
Well, but you look at, I have to find the exact number. I forget, but I think they want the difference between their home winning percentage and road winning percentage is bigger than average.
I just feel like this is
I looked this up. I texted you this last night. They're I think 9th in home wins.
Yeah, so there's 8 teams that are better at home than Denver, and we're acting like it's a place you can't win.
Well, players say it's hard to play there, and that's an anecdote, and it doesn't matter. Why can't we listen to the players who've played there? They have, we haven't.
I didn't say we can't.
And you kind of just dismissed it.
No, I didn't just dismiss it.
Anecdotally, other than
you know how I feel about it. It's an element. It's managing an element, just like managing a snowstorm or managing a rainstorm or managing a crazy wind in Buffalo. It's an element.
It's a tougher element to manage than many of the other places you'd end up going.
Sure, maybe for the Patriots, just because they don't play in elevation here, but
when they're young, they don't have a lot of players that
when the Chargers come here and they lose in the playoffs because it's 25 degrees, what do we say about the Chargers? We say, what a bunch of wusses.
Right, because they can't. It's an element that they need to deal with.
If we go and they lose in Denver,
well, the Chargers also come here and are non-competitive.
Okay, but
they don't just lose; they get their doors blown off.
But if we go to Denver and they say
they should not get their doors blown off by the Broncos in
because
Denver,
of the
that
altitude,
shouldn't happen.
Right. So then, what are we talking about? The better team on the day will win.
It's just more to manage. It's more. It just the better team. Yeah, but if they're close, it can be a deciding factor.
I guess
It can be. It
I'll
doesn't have to
digress.
be.
We're not going to agree. I just like
Nobody is saying, okay.
I know it's the
well,
scariest place in the
altitude.
place to play in the league.
No, because
they're
you're
going to lose in
acting-
Denver.
You're acting
I'm
like
terrified of the Broncos. All right, I lay down my sword. Okay, yep, it's a horrible outcome if the Patriots have to go to Denver.
You're acting
I
like
don't want anything to do with it.
people are saying, well, okay, it's at altitude, so they're going to lose by 40, and we all have to be okay with that. That's not how anybody's looking at it. It's another variable. It's another factor in the game you have to deal with. You want the
It's
fewest
a factor.
variables.
It's not the most
possible.
important one.
Right,
It's a
but,
factor.
But if it is a close game, those little things start to matter.
Let's hope that the Patriots just get the number 1 seed, so I don't need to argue with people about this for 3 weeks, and leading up to a potential AFC Championship game in Denver, because I'm tired. I'm tired of the argument.
Watch, that's what's going to happen.
But it's just we can agree to disagree.
Hang on. So the Broncos,
we can agree to disagree. We're not going to. But neither one of us is going to budge on this one. Although I am laying down my sword and I am saying that I don't want to play the Broncos. Everybody else is right and I'm wrong, and I don't want to play the Broncos.
Here, Evan. Way to be the bigger man.
Yeah.
all right. So
I'm done.
Hang
there
on.
you go.
You said, this is going
it's
back
on
to
the ground.
1960. Give me. What do we want to say? 19.
It's on the ground. It's done.
80.
No, I'm not. You all are right. I'm not battling you
Well, no,
anymore.
I'm gonna actually give you the tangible. I just got to put the years in, but I'm gonna give you the actual tangible, like how much better are they at home than on the road? Since 2000, at home, the Broncos are 132-76. On the road, they are 95-103. That's actually a pretty significant swing.
I just
So they're
I think that what I think this is what it all stems from, and I kind of wanted to talk about some of this stuff
hang on,
anyways.
they're 60 games over 500 at home since 2000.
Yeah.
If I did this correctly on Pro Football Reference, 60 games over 500 at home, 20 games under 500 on the road. You're talking about an 80 game swing. That is relevant. That's statistically relevant.
Okay.
Doesn't mean it's the be all end all. It's statistically relevant.
I still don't know if this is correlation or causation, and I think that's what it comes back to me. I don't know if this is just because the Broncos have been pretty good for a while.
But if they're pretty good teams win on the road too. Good teams go their record at home is going to be better than on the road.
Yeah, and
But you're talking about like an 80 game swing.
From what year?
Since 2000.
Okay.
You want me to go further back and include Elway?
No, I just don't know. I don't know. I give up. I give up. You all are right. Like it's a terrible.
It doesn't mean they're going to lose the game. It doesn't mean they're going to lose the game, but it's ideally not something you have to deal with. Going back to 1980, 250-115 at home, 164-198-1 on the road. Gross, a tie.
Again, I just don't know. I don't know if this is actually like, oh, it's a true, this home field advantage thing that you all are telling me is terrible for the Patriots, or if the Broncos have just had John Elway, they've had Peyton Manning, they have a good team now.
Why haven't they won on the road at close to the same clip they won?
You're just looking up what Denver is on the alone. Like, where does that rank? Where is their road record rank relative to the rest of the league?
Okay, I'll tell you. Hang on. Their road record relative to the rest of the league.
I've been wanting to move on from
1980.
this for like 10 minutes.
Well, no, we're having the conversation. Let's have the conversation. They are 11th.
Yeah, exactly. So they're middle of the pack.
On the road, and then at home, they are
9th.
Well, no, this is since 1980. Last night I used a different barometer, but you wanted me to include John Elway. They are first at home since 1980. No team has won more games at home since 1980 than the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
And they were 11th on the road.
I give up. I surrender.
How many teams do you think have a winning record on the road since 1980?
I don't know.
4. Any guesses?
No.
Come on, play the game.
No.
Play the game. Don't be a sore loser. Play the game.
I'm not a sore loser. I just have been so over this.
Who are the 4 teams that have a winning record on the road since 1980?
I don't
Regular
know.
season
Just
only.
say them if you want
I
to
didn't even include the playoffs here. The Patriots.
Yeah.
The Steelers.
Yeah.
The Eagles and the Niners.
There you go. Okay.
Patriots are 3 games away from having the best road record in the NFL since 1980.
Since 1980, with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, the Broncos have been really good at home. That's the take?
It's the split between the home and road. You're never going to get
it. No, I'm not. No, I told you. I lay down my sword. It's over. You all are right. I am wrong.
All right.
Denver's a tough place to play. I don't want to play there. There we go.
Well, you would rather play other places than there is the discussion. I'd rather play there than not be in it. But yeah, I'd rather go to Indy.
I would rather go to Indy too.
Probably rather go to Baltimore.
See how the Ravens.
Baltimore's tough, right?
See, this is the difference between me and I think everybody else. I just look at the teams.
I don't know realistically where else they could go. It's really going to be here or Denver.
I just look at the teams. I look at who are the best teams, and I don't want to play the best teams.
That's fair.
I don't look at this stadium or that home field. Like Arrowhead is an amazing home field.
It is, but the Patriots aren't going to go there.
But I'm just saying, like if the Chiefs were,
when it's close, that stuff can matter. Case in point. Those, as much as we love to laugh at them blowing doors against Peyton Manning's Colts in the early 2000s, like talent-wise, those teams were close. You know what made a big difference? The snow and the cold and the wind when they would come here in January. Peyton couldn't play in that.
But this is my whole point. You're making my whole point. The whole point is that the altitude is an element, just like weather. So as a mentally tough football team, which I like to think that they are, because the head coach, Mike Vrabel, is one of the most mentally tough guys that exists.
They handle it. I'm with you. And
you should be able to overcome it if you are the better team.
I trust them to have a plan to handle it. It's a little different than weather because you get there's an actual biological.
Well, we'll go
than
early.
Just being cold.
Okay. Well, we'll leave on Friday.
Maybe that's it. No, I trust them. They've had a plan for everything so far. I trust them to have a plan for it, but some you have to have a plan for.
Okay. So here's I wanted to talk about this and sort of this kind of got me thinking about it. Two things that stood out to me from like those Thanksgiving games and some of the games that I've been able to watch this weekend. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Detroit Lions because the Patriots are on a bye, and so we can talk a little bit about the rest of the league. The Detroit Lions right now this is our thing. This is why I want to talk about it. The Lions are going for it on fourth down at the same rate as they always have gone for it on fourth down. However, their fourth down conversion rate is dropping off a cliff. So this goes back to the whole, your whole thing is like they should adjust, right? Like they should stop doing it. So on Thanksgiving, against the Packers, they lost it to the Packers. The Lions went for it twice on fourth down in that game, and they're 0 for 2 on fourth down. Over the last month of the season, the Lions are only converting 25% of their fourth downs. Yet they're still going for it. When the math says go, they go.
Yep.
And the Patriots are also a team that has been following the analytics a lot in these types of decisions. But just looking at their fourth down efficiency, they're one of the best fourth down teams in the NFL. The Patriots right now are second in the league in fourth down conversion rate at 77.8%. That's
pretty good.
The Chiefs are number one at 80. So the Patriots are second in the league. The Detroit Lions right now are 18th at 52%. The Lions last year with Ben Johnson were fourth in the league. So, this all kind of goes back to all things we've talked about a million times, but Ben Johnson's doing great in Chicago.
Yep.
This Detroit team is not winning in those margins like they used to win when they had Ben Johnson as their coordinator. Your thoughts on this? Because I feel like this is right in our wheelhouse.
So it goes back to something else I always say about this. The decision to go or not go is only as good as how you feel about your play call. It's only as good as the play you call.
Yeah.
Right? If you are confident in the plays you have, I'm fine being a little more aggressive with going for it. If you're to go back to the Bengals game, here's a great example that the second time they got stopped on the goal line, they kicked the field goal on fourth down. I think the math said go there, right? If I remember correctly.
The Patriots.
The Patriots.
Yes.
Yeah. But, okay, you can make it a 6-point game. You've been struggling in this spot. You've now had 8 snaps. I think it was actually closer to 10 snaps at that point on the goal line. That's not working. The play calls aren't working. You have to factor that in, and they kicked. And I like that they kicked that field goal, and kicking that field goal ended up making a big difference in that game. So to give your argument some credit here, it's almost like the quality of the play calls has dropped off since Ben Johnson left.
That was exactly what I wanted.
They haven't adjusted to it. So
yes.
I stand by the decision to go is only as good as the play you called. There was one of the Thanksgiving games. There was a fourth down. It was 4th and 1, but it was a long one, and they lined up in shotgun, And it was like, they're not just going to hand this thing off up the middle because they've done it the play before and they did it. And you're like, why even go if that's your play call? They just stopped that exact same play. You haven't had that push all night. And I think realistically, and I don't remember the exact moment of this, but like realistically in the flow of that game, it made sense to go there. But if that's what you're going to call, man, just punt the ball.
Yeah.
Just punt it. And I think the Lions maybe and Dan Campbell have to have kind of a moment of realization that we're not putting Penei Sewell in motion and having him flip the ball to the third string tight end anymore. Like, the stuff we're calling isn't working. We can't be as aggressive because we don't have the ability to be as effective when we make these calls.
So I'm in agreement with you because this supports my Ben Johnson's good argument. So
I never said that Ben Johnson wasn't a good play caller. I never said that.
Even though it doesn't. No, I'm not saying that you said that. I'm just
Okay.
saying, anything that's pro Ben Johnson is good with me. I would also just add, with the Lions, one of the sneaky weird things that's happened in the league this year is Dan Campbell calling plays for the Lions offense. And I'm not saying that Dan Campbell is like incapable of calling plays. Like, I'm sure Dan Campbell knows a ton of football, and I'm sure his X's and O's mind is pretty good. But I watched, that game was against the Eagles a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you have Dan Campbell trying to outwit Vic Fangio. And that could not have been a bigger mismatch, right? Like, you have maybe the best defensive play caller in football against a guy that really shouldn't be calling plays. And the Lions, and this was exactly what I was worried about with the Lions, so I'm kind of victory lapping here a little bit.
You've earned this.
The Lions, have not replaced Ben Johnson, and now Dan Campbell is being thrust into a play calling role that's not a role he should have. Like, Dan Campbell's a rah-rah guy. Dan Campbell's a leader. Dan Campbell's, biting kneecaps. Like, that's Dan Campbell. Him trying to get into the play sheet and all that stuff is not it. And so he's not going anywhere, obviously, and shouldn't. Their GM isn't going anywhere, obviously, he shouldn't. But they're going to hire an offensive coordinator at the end of the year. Like, they're going to hire a real offensive coordinator for 2026. No doubt about it. The other sort of thing in terms of the math and all that stuff that's kicking around, I would say this is the one spot where I deviate from the nerds. I do not agree with the nerds on this.
Nope.
The going for 2, down 9 points at the end of the game.
See, interesting. I actually don't hate that one.
I disagree with it.
Depends how much time's left.
I disagree with it. And the main reason why that I get the argument that you want to know what you need. And I when I say I get it, like, I'm not dumb. I understand what you're trying to tell me.
Right.
I'm just not buying what you're selling. So I still feel like making it an 8-point game, and then all you need defensively is one stop, and then you go down, you score, you get the 2-point conversion, you go into overtime. I still feel like that is the better strategy at the end of the game than trying to get it. And then most of the time feels like teams fail, and then they just go down 9 points, and then it's game over. Like, the game's over.
Right.
Because then you have to stop, touchdown, onside kick recovery. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just too many things that have to happen. But these are the two things right now that are really kind of taking over nerd analytics world in football. Does it make sense to go for 2, down 9, and 4th down, and how you treat 4th down?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the going for 2, down 9?
I think it has to do with how much time's left on the clock. Because
agreed.
I do think there's an element, and I hear it. I get it. Well, you know what you need. You can manage the game. Do you need 1 possession? Do you need 2 possessions? The part of that conversation I've never heard anybody have is, well, now the defense also knows what you need.
Yeah.
And they can call the game differently, and they can maybe be a little more aggressive or conservative, whatever the situation may be. It also, again, the play you call. Do you feel good about your 2-point game? Do you feel like you're going to have a good chance to get it? Things like that. I think there's more room for interpretation if, let's say there's like 8 minutes left in the game, right? Early 4th quarter. I don't hate it as much because you're probably going to have time for that extra drive anyway, one way or the other. And okay, so you want to know if you need 1 or 2. I think there's maybe more information there. If there's like 4 minutes left in the game, 3 to 4 minutes left, and you need a stop, you're only going to get 1 more drive, make sure that drive is for the game. That's kind of where I'm at on it. Like, where in the game are we? And then also, again, it comes down to how good you are at 2-point plays.
I just think that, what was the team that did it this last time? I'm blanking. this last time, to your point, there was not enough time in the game
Right.
to get multiple possessions. I think it was at Philly to get multiple
Yeah.
possessions back. There wasn't enough time in the game.
You know what you need, okay, but if you don't get it, now the game's over. So
as soon as they
what
failed,
does it matter?
As soon as they failed the 2-point conversion,
Right.
the game was over.
You know what you need. Okay, well, now you know you're going to lose.
Yeah.
So
Game was over.
You know, again, early fourth quarter, you can talk me into it. I think there's maybe some validity to that. Don't like dilute yourself.
Because you're thinking you could still get 2 possessions the traditional way.
Right.
Without having onside
Right,
kick
either
it.
this
Yeah,
and that or
yeah,
whatever. It's like, all right,
right.
well, we're probably going to have the ball 2 more times. So, because then maybe okay, well, we're going to get the ball back down 7. We want to be a little more conservative on this drive. We want to run some clock. We don't want to give them too much time.
Right.
Versus, like, if you know you're going to need to be in scramble mode one way or the other, make it a 1-score game.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple things, then we'll take your calls to wrap up the show. Just thoughts on the Week 14 slate. Patriots are on a bye.
Good slate.
What are you going to be watching? I don't believe that the Patriots can clinch this week. I don't think.
No, which, by the way, is
not quite
so
there.
freaking weird.
Not quite there.
They can have 11 wins and not clinch the playoffs. Ryan Garvin, who's my producer on Sunday Kickoff, looked this
Yeah.
up. He found one of the websites that describes it.
Yeah.
That lays out the scenarios. They described as a horrific set of tiebreakers that would occur if the Patriots were to lose out. That would not let them in the playoffs. So
Yeah. So it's because
obviously one more win and they're in. But
the Patriots could, at worst, finish at 11-6.
Yeah.
And right now, the Bills are the 7th seed at 8-4. So they're the teams in the playoffs. The worst case
Right.
scenario for Houston would be 6 losses, and so they could still technically.
and there's so many tiebreakers that they don't have for whatever reason. And
it's because of their schedule.
Because of their schedule, and
Yeah.
And the fact that it's with 7 teams too. But anyway, what will I be watching? You definitely need 2 TVs for this one. I actually think the best game is probably Bills-Bengals.
I can't believe they didn't flex that.
I am a little surprised they didn't flex that.
Like,
That's the best game.
You were right about this. Like, the Bengals are not out of it.
No, I was telling they're lurking.
Yeah.
Well, and then you have, so in conjunction with that, you have Steelers-Ravens.
Yeah.
So the Bengals can get to 5 wins. The division leader is going to have 7. And the Bengals still have the Ravens once more. And no, they're done with the Steelers. But they split with the Steelers. So,
yeah,
that thing's still open. I think, oddly, if you're a Bengals fan, you're rooting for a tie in Steelers-Ravens, if I have that correctly in my head.
The Bengals are playing better than the Bills right now.
Yes.
I'm pretty
Correct.
confident in saying that.
I would agree with you. And then you have Colts-Jaguars, which is for the AFC South. And, you know, you're looking at potential first-round playoff opponents or first playoff game if the Patriots get divided, divisional round, right? Are the Colts going to Indy? Are the Jags or the Colts going to Jacksonville? Or are the Jags going to Indy? Does that loss open up? And then to get to the game of the week, I'll jump ahead here a little on the schedule. I didn't want to skip the 4 o'clock window, but the game of the week. So that was the game of the 1 o'clock window. I think I said it's game of the week, game of the 1 o'clock window. Texans Chiefs.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football. Hell yeah. Oh, that's going to be awesome. Mahomes against that defense. Texans heading in one direction. Chiefs heading in the other. We'll know what happened with that Colts-Jaguars game. The Texans might have a chance to jump back into the division lead. No, they won't. Sorry. One of those teams will have 9 wins. But, like, that Texans team is right there. That game freaking rules.
All 4 of those games, Bills, Bengals, Chiefs, Texans, Colts, Jags, Steelers, Ravens, are going to be good games. The Broncos play the Raiders.
Well, and then in the NFC, so I was going to get to that. In the NFC, Bears-Packers is
I
going to
don't
be a
care
good
about
game,
the NFC. The Broncos play
That's
the
going to
Raiders.
be good football. You don't care about your boy Ben Johnson?
Yeah, like I care in
a
terms
massive
of
game?
like watching it in terms of that.
Yeah.
but,
I thought that's what you meant. Like, what are the best games to watch?
No. Broncos, Raiders.
Go Tom Brady.
Now, the Raiders, it was a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
It was super ugly.
Yeah.
It was 10-7. Like
It was.
It wasn't.
They had Bo Nix in hell in that game.
Yeah, it wasn't totally a non-game, and you know, this happens like that. You play spoiler at the end of the year. You know, the Miami Dolphins in 2019 beat the Patriots in Week 17 to knock them out of a bye. You know, it happens. I'm not saying it's going to, but it has happened.
Yeah.
So Broncos play the Raiders is probably going to be a win for the Broncos. But I'm really looking forward to Bills-Bengals because the Bengals, I think their defense is starting to kind of trend in a good direction. I know that 5 turnovers kind of masked some things in that Baltimore game, but they played better against the Patriots. They caused 5 turnovers against the Ravens, and now Burrow's back.
The potential. We'll see what happens against Josh Allen. And Josh Allen's been he's been turning the ball over a lot, but outside of that, he's been playing well. He's kind of gone back to like COVID Josh Allen.
Yeah.
If they keep Josh Allen relatively in check, the splits that we'll have, Bengals defense first 11 weeks of the season.
Is that game in Cincinnati?
No, it's in Buffalo.
Okay, so the one other split that's really trending with the Bills is their home road splits.
Yeah, they've been very good at home.
They've been bad on the road. They have like almost like a I think it's a full touchdown.
Would you say it's a Broncos-esque home road split?
Yes.
Okay.
It's almost a full touchdown in terms of points scored at home versus on the road. They're averaging like 33 a game at home and like 25 or 26 on the road.
I'll just say this. If they hold Josh Allen in check, the splits on, okay, here's what they did the first 11 weeks, and then you're going to have potentially 3 MVPs in a row, Lamar, Allen, and May, and what they did against those 3 guys would be very funny. I'm rooting, not just like rooting against Josh Allen, rooting for it. I like weird stuff. The Bengals defense being historically terrible, then playing 3 MVPs in a row and being good against them would just be awesome.
So this game's in Buffalo, so this is irrelevant, but just for the Patriots in week 15, the Bills right now are scoring 32.5 points at home. They are scoring 23.7, almost 10-point difference at home versus road. So that's an interesting one.
Home road. So their home games are Baltimore, Miami, New Orleans, the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Bucks. And then their road games are the Jets. They play some weak road games. Jets, Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, Texans, Steelers.
And they lost the Dolphins and the Falcons both on the road.
And the Texans. That's true.
So
well, they only have 2 road games left. It's Patriots and Browns.
What really quickly on the Bills?
Yeah.
Because I've watched a little bit of their tape this week.
Yeah.
Their offense, and to their credit, they did it on Sunday against the Steelers and they ran for 250 yards. I can call out the plays that they're running. They run like 5 plays.
Right.
It's really kind of bizarre. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that their receivers, it's been such a revolving door that they just haven't.
Receivers?
They just haven't been able to build.
That's not fair. I do like Brandon Cooks.
They haven't been able to build, though, because the guys haven't been in the building.
Yeah.
So they haven't been able, Gabe Davis is playing now, and he wasn't there to start the year. Brandon Cooks is there. Yeah. So, like, they haven't had that time, whereas like a team like the Patriots has been going since training camp. They can build over the course of the season and add more into the playbook over the course of the season. The Bills have not had that luxury. If it's third and medium, they're running mesh. I'm telling you right now, they're running mesh. It might be different kinds of mesh, right? Like there's different variations, but they're running some variation of mesh.
And how have the Patriots been against mesh this year?
Okay. They haven't seen it a ton. But they're running mesh in the run game. They're running outside zone weaker duo. It's one of the two. And it's like uncanny how like these repeat plays are just all over their film. And to their credit, James Cook and Josh Allen are really good players. And so sometimes it works. But the Texans had them in hell because they just knew what was coming, and it's over and over again. So Joe Brady's under a lot of fire. He got crowned, it's kind of like a Bobby Slowick fall from grace going on right now with Joe Brady, where you have one really good year and then immediately follow that up with a down year. So we'll see what happens with Buffalo. But I think the Bengals have a really good chance to win that game.
I think so, too. Speaking of looking ahead, can I give you one stat I found this week?
Yes.
Kind of looking ahead for when they get back?
Yes.
Mike Vrabel, coming off the bye as a head coach. Do you know what his record is?
You told me so, I know.
I didn't think you'd remember. 6-0.
I remember some things you told me.
Mike Vrabel is 6-0 coming off the bye. 5 of those wins have been by multi-score margins. He won 28-23 against the Falcons his last year there with the Titans. But Mike Vrabel has never lost coming off the bye.
I like that.
I like that too.
And I like Buffalo's run game, and I think this is what's going to happen with Buffalo. Then we got to wrap this up. Buffalo, I think, is going to kind of reinvent themselves into a run first.
They're going to try to do the 2018 Patriots.
Yeah, I think they are, and then they'll just try to use Josh Allen as like an ultra efficient, big play hunter, and that sort of thing, which might work for them. Rich in Virginia, go quick. Rich, what's up?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Hey.
Listen to you guys every week. Appreciate you guys.
Love
Great show. I have just a quick question. It's a little bit away from what y'all are talking about, but around quarterbacks, we obviously have our man. He is the GOAT. Every day I'm watching clips of this guy, highlights. Drake Maye is the GOAT. I do wonder what y'all think about backup quarterbacks. Obviously, we have Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs has played for us, and he's been clutch third down situations. He's great. I am a DeVito believer. So obviously we will improve in the offseason and in the draft. Hopefully we'll get the 32nd pick. We'll see. But I'm curious what we think quarterback room looks like going into next year. Do we think DeVito stays around, or do we think we keep Josh Dobbs and then get maybe a third quarterback in the draft? That's what I got for you guys. Thank you so much. Keep doing it. You guys are awesome.
Thanks, Rich.
Called the right show with that question at the team at 11-2.
I love the mix they have at quarterback.
I think it's going to be the same. Maybe there's like a rookie UDFA that's on the practice squad hanging around, but
yeah, I don't really feel this like big, and I know some people do. I don't really feel this big like need to upgrade the backup quarterback spot.
Dobbs on a multi-year deal, so he's here.
I don't. Like,
and I think DeVito's an RFA. So
I think the best thing possible is what Josh Dobbs has been doing for Drake Maye. That's what I want to see. I don't really care about who the backup quarterback is.
It's working for Drake, so keep it as is. Yeah, DeVito's an RFA.
All right, Calvin in Florida. Go really quick, Calvin.
Hey, I just got a question. What do you guys think Kayshon Bouttie's extension will be? Because I don't think there's any way they let him out of the building with the way he's had a connection with Drake Maye. Just want your opinion on that.
Yeah, thanks, Calvin. It's an interesting question because he has been productive and he has been the arrow has been pointing in the right direction. However, and I just know this, historically from the league, your standing in the draft and what people thought of you during the draft, when you're not like if it's not Puka Nacua, right? It was a 5th round pick and is just an absolute superstar. It kind of lingers with you a lot of the time in the league. So all of the reasons why Kayshon Boutte fell to the 6th round a couple of years ago, whether it's on the field or off the field, all right, I would assume it might follow him in free agency, where some teams are just going to be a little bit wary of, backing up the Brinks truck for Kayshon Boutte.
Right.
So I do think that he's going to be, nowadays like that wide receiver 2 money market. So maybe we're talking about like 12-ish million a year. Maybe it's 15 in today's world, right? But in that sort of category, I don't think that we're all of a sudden going to see somebody pay Kayshon Boutte $20 million a year. I don't think that that's happening.
Yeah, his production isn't quite there. You know, the injury probably set him back a little bit, but he'll get paid. I mean, he'll get paid.
Yeah.
He'll get a good contract.
Yeah, agreed. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. We will be back next week. No game to recap next week, so we're going to probably talk a lot about the rest of the NFL and do that whole thing. We'll talk, of course, about the Patriots and the Bills hat and T-shirt game.
That's right.
Hat and T-shirt game for the Patriots against the Bills. Chance to clinch the AFC East. Patriots Unfiltered. It'll be up in 8 minutes. We'll see you guys then, or I'll see you then, and we'll see you guys next week here on Catch-22.
Hey, this is Alex. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.